Hey, everybody, and welcome to Just Another Nerdy Podcast. I'm Jay.
I'm Tiana.
Nick.
And today, so for those of you who are curious, today we're going to be discussing a little bit about, so I watched Bumblebee and Aquaman. I don't know if you guys got to see either of those.
I want to
Not
see
yet.
both. I haven't seen either yet.
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about Bumblebee and Aquaman, so I'll do a bit of a review. And then, Nick, what was, okay, in fear of mispronouncing everything, what was your topic you wanted to talk a little bit about?
Kenji Mizoguchi.
Okay, see. Yeah. And then, we're going to talk probably a little bit about, like, 2018, maybe a little in review, and then 2019 future-ness, and that's going to be more off the cuff. But welcome, guys. It's been a couple of weeks, because we didn't do anything over Christmas, and then over New Year's, I canceled it. I was like, yeah, Chris, our guy. I was like, Chris, I don't think I'm going to do it. And he was like, no! Why?
Poor Chris.
Yeah. I just... He was like, no! Sound test is good. I have this now for comments because...
There you go.
Sub-anniversary. That's what that reminder thing is. Okay. So we brought this up. Here we go. Yeah, we're doing a little bit of a stream, but I brought this up for comments so I can read because when they pop up over there, for some reason my eyes.
That's a good idea. I can barely read it either.
Yeah, I have terrible eyes. So guys, just in case you're curious, you can follow us on Twitter. So you can follow us on Twitter, and now you can follow me on Instagram. I've been doing a lot more Instagramming. We're doing clips and stuff from the podcast and from my streams. And we're also doing some stuff for Steph and stuff.
Stuff and stuff. Very official.
I did like a little behind the scenes, like I did a little like a kind of a spin of the room before and a spin of the room after, because I actually have to take all this stuff down now. Like there's no way. I can't do it anymore. So we took care of that, and then you can follow us on Facebook. That's where we actually put all the news and whatnot on. And then if you want to catch this live, you can watch us on twitch.tv/justanothernerdypodcast. If you want to catch us later on, you can actually watch us on YouTube. We have the full broadcast that we put up there. And then finally, if you just want to listen to us, you want to download us, you want to put a little nerdy in your pocket, you can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and CastBox. So we got lots of places where you can just download us and listen to us. So that's a lot of fun. So feel free to check us out there. But let's kind of get into things. How are you guys? I haven't seen you guys in like forever.
Yeah, I think it's been since like November.
Yeah.
I wanted to stop by New Year's, but we had that Solera thing.
Been busy. I've been ridiculously busy on. What did you do at Solera?
Yeah, what's that Solera thing? For those of you who don't know, Solera is a wine bar in our town.
Well, she had a little party for friends, so it was like open bar, drink whatever you want. Potluck type thing. Like
a way better party than I had. Like that's what you're telling me.
When the owner of the wine bar throws a open house, drink as much as you want, yeah, I would totally go.
Yeah. No, I'm down for that. I had some Fireball and rum chata, so I think she wins in that whole...
Was that New Year's Eve?
Yeah, New Year's Eve.
I was performing in a burlesque show that was an 80s prom theme in Iowa City.
Oh, sweet.
That's
I did
awesome.
Madonna's Vogue.
Hello, Christopher Goodrich. Nick is so fancy going to wine bars.
Oh, yeah. I'm very fancy.
We had we did a little shindig at our house. We were going to do a bonfire if the weather was nice, but that, like, week it froze for no reason. And so we did, we just, like, my boss brought prime rib over, which he made a New York strip up like a prime rib. And I told him about Sarah coming, and he's like, now I'm nervous about being judged. I was like, don't worry about it. Your food's good. I would have been judged that night, though, because I also got super hammered. We played What Do You Meme? And then I was sitting there, like, I'd walk over with a knife, and I would just slice off a chunk of prime rib. I ate maybe, like, 2 pounds of meat. But Matt kept going over. He'd look at my my cut job, and he'd be like, good Lord, can you cut a straight line? And I'm like, not tonight. Super drunk, so.
We did play over at Devin's parents' house. We played a bunch of, we played Catan. We played King of New York. We played. Love that game. King of New York is awesome.
Oh, I've never played that.
You've never played that one?
No.
Oh my god.
No. It's a lot of fun.
You know what it is?
No, I don't know anything about it.
So, King of New York, and then they also have King of Tokyo. Oh no, we played King of Tokyo. So it's the same game, but different monsters. You basically play like Godzilla and Mothra, or like the different monsters, but they're all fighting for control over Tokyo, or fighting for control over New York.
Oh, that's so cool!
It's almost like a really simple a Risk, I want to say.
But yeah, it's a very basic, like, quick little. You're fighting for fighting each other for, and then you get like spell cards. They give you like extra heads or make you bigger, or.
Oh my gosh!
It's so awesome.
That is.
Yeah, Sarah and I played through a couple of them at her parents' place a few years back, and it was Tokyo and New York.
I'm 100% into that game.
Yeah, there's
so,
two versions.
So good news is we hired on a new person, so I had to give up a few nights. Bad news for my paycheck, which isn't that bad of news. But I'm giving up Friday nights and Tuesday nights, so I don't have to work at all on Friday.
Nice. Well,
we should set up a thing. Like we should do a thing. What do you have it? Or,
I don't.
Or do I need to go purchase it?
It was Devin's brother that got it for Christmas.
I will hunt this game down.
Yeah.
And
I think it's like
buy it.
$30 or something. I personally recommend Tokyo versus New York. I think.
Okay.
I think that was the first one.
That sounds fun. Yeah, so we just played What Do You Meme, which is like Cards Against Humanity, but with memes, and instead of like comment cards, you have like
Yeah, I've seen the concept of it.
I don't remember. Like you put a comment on it. It's a DM. No, what do they call that? When you caption a meme, caption it. You caption it. There we go.
Okay.
So you caption your memes. Best winner wins. JANP game night. Yeah, that would be fun.
I think I might be busy most Fridays though. So I work there.
Oh yeah, that's damn it. I was thinking like because I was like, man, I can hang out with so many people, and then I was like, except Nick, because he's in the same boat I am.
Yep, exactly.
So I mean, we had a good New Year's.
Tuesday nights are what I teach.
Ooh, well, so I'm planning on once a month going up and doing because at Lefty's bar or whatever they call it, or comedy. I mean, it is a comedy club. Yeah, they do a comedy night every Tuesday.
I have a friend that actually does that. He has a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
I've heard good things.
I'm gonna go up. You should hook me up with your friends so they can show me the ropes. Because last time I went, it was pretty humiliating. I went. Well, so it was like a year and a half ago, so maybe they forgot me. But I went and I was like, doing this whole bit about like this is my name and whatnot, and so I was talking about my name because I go by Jay on here. My real name's Jared. Everyone like used to equate my name to the Subway guy. So I went on a nice Subway guy rant, especially about how he's like now a crazy sex fiend pedophile.
Oh yeah.
So now nobody makes that joke, which is nice. But so I'm doing this whole bit about my name, but like to start, I had it that the top of that is very loose. I do apologize. I need to glue the shit out of that thing.
Oh, it was more the M&M things getting stuck on my arm, and I was like
just
moving it back. Yeah.
Just move them.
But trying to move it back where it doesn't like fall off, because that might be distracting to have them like fun.
Jay going to do comedy. I'm there. Thank you, Chris. Well, I'm thinking about putting up like I don't know if you can get in trouble for filming your own set, like bits of your own set.
I can ask him.
Yeah.
He does comedy there every week.
Yeah, because I kind of want to
message and ask.
I want to do bits of my own set, and if they are cool with me filming bits of my own set, I'd like to film that and like put them up as clips for like.
I would think
stuff.
so. Like for example, I can film bits of my own set there for, like, burlesque and flow, because I do other things there at other shows.
I just don't want a friend getting in trouble for like holding his phone up at me. I want them to know.
They let me do it for other shows, for other types of performance, and because I like to have it for reviewing it later to say, oh look, I messed up here, or this didn't look as good as I thought it did. So it's good to be able to watch it later and go, oh, this is where this was. I need work.
And that's why they were like record like theater events and stuff too, is because they want you to be able to go back and look at your performance and say, okay, I need to work on this, I need to work on that. A lot of times they actually recommend, like if you're working on monologues, to just film or just voice record yourself.
Right. And so generally, if you give somebody permission ahead of time, so that way if somebody comes up and says to somebody and says, hey, you're not supposed to be recording, and you can be like, I'm the guy that I'm here for that.
I'm the guy. I'm that guy.
Yeah, I got special permission, and they're like, oh, okay, that's different. Like,
Jay Journey to Comedy Legend. Yeah, that's so. I would like to start doing that. That's we're just finishing training up. We have we have 2 Julies at work now. So I call the other Julie, who's been there the longest, I call her Julie Primo, and then I call new Julie, of course, because I didn't want to be like, I didn't want to call her old Julie. I feel like that's kind of a
Julie Prime.
Not cool. So Julie Primo is dope, and she digs it. She laughs. She goes, I did say I'm number 1. So, and then for those of you who don't know, we have a few additional pieces to the set. Oh, I'm covering my favorite piece. So I got this for Christmas.
Nice.
It is a Death Star piggy bank.
Very nice.
When you put a coin in it, though, I lost my damn mind. I told my wife. So if you guys if you sub or if you donate bits at all, I will drop a coin in for you.
Have you seen the drones that are the different Star Wars vehicles that the flying drones that are different Star Wars vehicles?
I've seen that.
So Devin got one of those last year. He got one of the racers, and
That's cool.
When you open the case, it's not just the racer that makes the noise. The case itself, when you open it, it starts playing Star Wars music. So you just open it up, and all of a sudden you hear the noise, and it lights up, and you're like.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love
Taboo.
it. I love it.
My dog, I have a husky, so of course my dog is very, very vocal. Thought it was the greatest thing in the entire world. She not only did she flip out over this box, but then we've got this speedster flying around the house, which she was convinced was a toy for her. She was totally convinced that she was going to catch it and it was going to be the greatest thing ever. So I've got video from last year on my Instagram of Taboo chasing the speedster around and then figuring out when the box was going to open again. I thought it was just so clever that they animated the box.
That's an extra touch. That's just.
And it was 3 different songs. So if you opened it and then closed it, opened it again, it would be a different song every time.
Ooh,
nice.
That's nice. I was gonna get. So I have. My sister gave it. I left it in the closet too. That's a shame. I'll pull it out of the closet another time. But it's I think it's a 3 foot by 4 foot poster of that's a blueprint of the Millennium Falcon. She sent that to me to hang up at the podcast, so probably in the next couple of weeks I will obtain a frame for that and put that up somewhere. Something's gonna have to go so it can come back. That's not going because that's a permanent fixture at this point. I just screw things into the wall, but something here.
Maybe District 9.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking. Well, what I might do is I might actually get rid of Zombieland and then move District 9 over and
so
then
you
put
don't
it there.
the zombies so much.
So Zombieland I loved and I do really like that poster, but
Weren't they gonna do a sequel at some point?
I liked it.
It's coming
up
right now.
Yeah, they're working on it right now.
Same cast. I'm really interested to see because it's including a little girl. It's the entire cast.
Yeah, Abigail
so I'm wondering
Breslin.
She's not a little girl anymore.
Yeah.
Well, she's 25 or something.
I have everything in the closet. Well, I did put my mask on. This was actually really funny story I decided to stream yesterday, just me talking, and I was scheduling. I found a shit ton of free social media schedulers, and if you use all of them, because they're free to a point, you can only use so many. You can only post so much. Right. So if you if you use all of them, then you basically have unlimited social media posting. So I was streaming me doing that, and this guy pops in and he goes, "You need to diversify." And his name was, I thought it was Therapist Brad.
Oh.
It's
I see.
It's not. It's what did he call himself actually? He called him their apist Brad. Oh. But it's the rapist. Anyways, he pops in and he's followed me before and he's actually pretty tame for that. But he pops in, he's like, "You need to diversify." And I was like, what are you talking about, Therapist Brad? What do I need to do? And my sister's watching and he's like, you need to you're just a white male. You need to be a woman, a trans black woman. And I was like, wait a minute. And I just grabbed the green screen from my closet and threw it over my face. I'm like, how's this? And then I pulled the mask because I can't see shit. So I pull that off. And then I put on the devil mask. And then again, I can't see shit. So I pull that off. And I get in there. And my sister is in the comments just going ape shit on Therapist Brad. Like, she is like, first of all. And I'm like, sis, I love you. She's like, what? I'm like, it's... Like, he's just trolling. He just be trolling.
Don't feed the trolls. Do not feed the trolls.
Well, I'm like, and Brad was like, shit, I'm just joking. Sorry.
Don't feed.
He was like, I was like, I knew he was joking. I knew where he was going. So he was, I was fine. But it was so funny. I love my sister, but she doesn't always understand the internet. And she just comes out swinging like a bear. She's like, rah, 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 rah. And I was like, calm down. It's fine.
Sometimes it's okay to release a bear on the trolls, you know.
Yeah, well, I think Therapist Brad he's a mild troll. He doesn't. I feel bad because like sometimes I use the term troll, and troll has like a seriously negative connotation to it. You know. I'm
sorry, but when your screen name.
Is Therapist Brad?
Yeah.
Then you automatically fall under category.
Well, I just feel bad because I don't want to offend people when I call them a troll. Because sometimes I feel like trolling is an
when that's your
thing.
screen name, then you automatically get put in that category. End of story.
I don't think it's like I don't know. Like some trolls I enjoy. Like I think that they have some cleverness to them.
Yeah.
You know, and
definitely.
I'm down with it. I didn't even really know too much about trolls until like after high school. So we had like this big forum in high school that was all about.
What, you weren't a 4chan?
No.
You weren't that 4chan guy?
We were like, we had forums. You can ask Devin about this someday. We had a forum. So it started off with, okay, this is a story. So in high school, we had a tennis class, right? And so people were taking, it was gym class. They were playing tennis. So they were coming from the tennis courts. At the same time, the ag department was doing their demonstration in ag class where they cut a chicken's head off and show them how to pluck and prep the chicken. So
wait, in class? Like school?
Yeah.
You guys did that?
Yeah. They had a class where they show you how to kill and prep a chicken.
Huh.
Interesting.
And
seems very practical.
For those of you who don't know about, like, killing chickens, when you cut their head off, they still are, like, their bodies are still mobile for a while.
For a while.
So they cut the head off this chicken. While kids are passing from class, outside, they cut the head off of this chicken, and it's running around in a circle, and it slams into the wall and sprays blood all the way up the wall and mortifies the shit out of, like, 30 kids.
I can only imagine.
And so we had this forum spawned from it, and it was about Grinnell students against animal cruelty. and so all these political debates started spawning, and then the school banned it. So they started this new forum that was about political and ideological discussions. And it was interesting because I started off as this character named Yellow Wolf. And no one knew who I was. And it was an awesome mystery. Everyone was like, who is Yellow Wolf? And they would they'd be talking and like listing names of people I didn't even know. and I would just kind of smile. And, there's my buddy Dustin, who was Godly Soup. And, sometimes we'd have talks and we didn't know who each other was. It turns out we were friends the whole time. And so there's a big old mystery about it, and then they finally found a way to look and find my name in the registry or something. And the thing about it was I would have political arguments with some friends, and then later on I would talk to them, and they were like, "Yeah, I was fucking with you," and I was like, "Trolls."
Yep, trolls.
That's what trolls, to bring that back around, but.
Early
it was
troll.
interesting. I mean, we had religious discussions. One friend would talk about how we need to take all the gays and put them on an island and make them fight to the death. He was trolling. He was straight up just trying to rouse me, and he worked. I mean, because I didn't know that existed. I didn't know that people would get on and just say, "Hey, I can fuck with this."
Pre-trolls, right? I mean,
yeah,
we talking about
pre-trolls.
like 2004 or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
We're talking about when we had the birth of 4chan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was right
back before 4chan became
4chan.
I think that was at the
Back when
birth
4chan
of that.
was, yeah, was worth going to.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I do have a couple of things I figure we could talk about. I don't know, what is this? Oh,
Facebook.
Someone commented on my shit. Thank you. Thank you. Here's the thing about Instagram. It posts, like, it'll sometimes post shit to Facebook also. Jay has 2 pets, Luis on the troll, Jay's sister, Bear, and me, his pet dog. Oh. Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, so what was it? So I watched Aquaman and Bumblebee. So I thought I'd do a little review on this.
I've been really curious about both of those, actually.
To start, I'm just going to say they're both worth the money. I think they're both worth the money, but they're worth the money in their own rights. So here's what I'm going to say. So Bumblebee, as you can see in the trailers, like the visuals, the graphics, how they handle everything is completely anti-Michael Bay. Like they you can see what's going on. Everything looks like it's straight out of the cartoon. There's a sweet ass scene where, like, it was a Soundwave, I think, like pops the fucking tiger thing out of his chest.
Nice.
It was so cool. The whole Cybertron sequence at the beginning is worth the money. So and then so everything looks awesome. On top of that, like, I gotta give this director props because they take the first Michael Bay produced film with a female lead and they give you an actual person who's not, like, Haley, if you don't know, Haley Steinfeld is a very pretty woman. Like, she is beautiful. But they don't, they almost go a little bit out of their way to not over-sexualize her. Like, there's, like, I mean, there's a point where you see her sleeping in bed and she's wearing sleeping pants, like, that are, like, they're shorts, but they're not shorty booty shorts. They're just shorts, and she's just sleeping, you know? She's not...
Wait, they're actual, like, legit what women would wear to bed?
Yeah, she just wears shit to bed and goes to sleep, and she wakes up, and she's a bit of a mess. She's still a pretty woman. She's still beautiful, but she's not... She's a bit of a character mess.
Yeah, hers
it's
not
realistic.
When she wakes
it's
up,
not
or...
Megan Fox running with a low-cut shirt, slow-mo... Only there to be eye candy and the relationship to Shia LaBeouf. Wow, I forgot Shia LaBeouf's name. Yeah. So they do this thing where and then they make this actual character. So there's an interesting story aspect where, so Bumblebee, this is actually, like, he immediately loses his voice. Like, he has a voice. He's played by Dylan O'Brien, who I think he's the main guy from the Maze Runner series.
Okay.
So he's got a good voice, and then he loses his voice. It's like literally ripped out of him. It's kind of brutal how it happens. And so he has to find his voice. Meanwhile, Haley Steinfeld is dealing with grief. Her father died of a heart attack, and she has to deal with, like, she's in the grief process. She's a mess. She's out of high school. She works in a corn dog stand. She's like, I don't really want to, like, be anything or do anything. I'm miserable right now. And her only goal is to fix her dad's Camaro. She's trying to fix her dad's Camaro because that was the thing they did together. So she's grieving. And the way that these two work together in the movie is, like, she helps him find his voice and he helps her find her smile again. So it's like a really sweet movie, and it's about real characters with real goals. The final thing that really sunk this movie in for me was, so they have this character who has a crush on her. He's, like, constantly, like, pining over her and trying to, like, he's, like, in that moment of, like, I'm going to ask this girl, I'm going to talk to her for the first time, you know, pretty girl. So he spends the entire movie, and they have this relationship where, you know, he just, like, barges into her garage to talk to her, and there's Bumblebee, and he's like, what the hell is that? And so they're forcibly bonded together because she has to make sure he's not off telling people what the fuck is going on, and they become friends. And at the end, they have this great thing where it's like, at the end of the movie, you know, it's that they're supposed to kiss and all that shit, and he goes to grab her hand, and she just goes, no. We're not there yet. And that's how it ends with them. That's how it ends. It's I love that. Like, it's this, they're not forcing a relationship. They're not jamming in this. There has to be a romance, and they have to kiss and make out at the end. It's not this formulated story. I just love it. It's just, no. We're not there yet.
Films definitely need to have more of that. I love that.
Yeah, well,
that's nice.
Because it's not every romance is two hot people immediately pine for each other and then make out. Yeah. Like at the end, like at the climax and whatnot.
He's like emotionally abusive, but then it's somehow seen as playful and
it's complete flip. And he is I would say he's a bit of eye candy. Like there's a point where like she like steals his shirt, which is weird. Like she's like, give me your shirt, I'm gonna do something. And he takes his shirt off and he's like, he's buff. So it is almost the flip, like he's the eye candy, but at the same time it's not like, it's just not this forced romance. On the flip side, we're gonna start talking about Aquaman now.
Oh, okay.
Visuals, again, Aquaman is fucking dead on. Like it is amazing. It's beautiful. Like there is a part. So the main bad guy is Ocean Master. He's played by, I think, Patrick Wilson, I think is his name. He played Owlman in The Watchmen. And he plays Ocean Master, who's the half-brother of Aquaman, and he's the king at the beginning of this movie.
Does Dolph Lundgren get much screen time in that movie?
He does! Good. Dolph Lundgren has a ton of screen time.
I want to see Dolph Lundgren.
He's actually pretty important in the story, too. He's really good. He's super ginger. That's the best part.
That's awesome.
So there's a part where he's like, Patrick Wilson puts on his mask, it comes out, and he's like, I'm the Ocean Master. And he looks exactly like the comic book.
Nice.
Like, this movie, graphics-wise, action-wise, is dead on. We are finally this point where directors are going, instead of trying to for lack of a better word, splooge their own shitty vision on this, like Michael Bay. Like,
I feel like this whole podcast today is a shit on Michael Bay.
Yeah. Fuck Michael Bay. I'm sorry, but Jesus Christ, when you look at his Transformers and compared to the Transformers in Bumblebee, you're like, what the fuck were we doing for 5 movies?
I feel like the last movie that he did that was somewhat decent was The Rock back in the 90s.
Oh, no. Pain and Gain, I think, was
Pain
him.
And Gain? I've never seen
Pain and Gain's awesome.
It's good.
Pain and Gain has The Rock, and it has Mark Wahlberg, and it's... Michael Bay should stop doing big-budget action movies of CG things that don't make sense.
I like that milk commercial he did.
I like the commercial he did.
He started that whole Got Milk thing.
He should start doing, like, original films, because his original films are nice. Like, he does a good job. But, anyway, So it's this theme of, like, we finally hit movies that look good. Surface-wise, Aquaman is awesome. Jason Momoa is fantastic. But if you start going a little bit lower, you start realizing, like, there's still a lot of problems to the movie. There is an immediately forced romance. However, I will agree that, like, the two... So it's Jason Momoa and then the lady who plays Mira. It's just two hot people are hot for each other, and then they get hot on each other. It's fine. Okay. I'm just going to say if I were a woman and I was stuck with Jason Momoa for the hour or for the 2.5 hours that this movie is, I think by the end, get a little piece of that action.
There are definitely worse people to get stuck with.
Yeah, I know. It's not this like terrible no chemistry. Like, I mean, there was no chemistry, but it's fucking Jason Momoa. You couldn't have a better person to say,
yeah,
come on.
I'm more of an Idris Elba guy.
I would as well. If you had a hot chick jump on Idris Elba with no chemistry and no sense behind it, other than to force a romance, I'd be like, it's Idris Elba.
Well, yeah.
But look at Jason Momoa.
I feel like they could not have done this movie without having a romance, because every single woman in the audience would have been like, but where is this? Where, like...
It just...
Where can I picture myself in this movie?
It was clearly, like, it was clearly
Everybody would have been pining
forced.
for it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie was clearly, it was clearly a forced... Like, there's too many things going on for it to make sense. Like, the plot is non-cohesive at all. We just found what Jay trigger word for outrageous. Michael Bay. Fuck Michael Bay. So Jason Momoa. The story's non-cohesive. Like it's like the basic premise is Jason Momoa has to go back because Patrick Warburton is going to destroy everything. He has to claim his throne. Sorry, Patrick Wilson.
I would like to see that too. I mean,
Patrick Warburton in any movie. So Patrick Wilson's going to destroy everything. So Jason Momoa has to reclaim his throne as king. So then he has to go and find the trident of King Atlan, the original king, and then that will give him the ability to claim it. And so they go on this Indiana Jones quest to find the trident, but they have like these weird like he gets caught in Atlantis, so then he has to fight, but then he loses the fight, so he has to go and find the trident to come back and fight. And then they're trying to do this Indiana Jones plot at the side, and then there's the romance plot, and then there's his father and mother romance plot, and then there's Patrick Wilson, damn it, trying to take over everything. So like he's got a whole side plot where he's taking over things, and Willem Dafoe's like in the corner, like I'm Willem Dafoe, I'm doing my Willem Dafoe thing.
And then I forgot.
So okay, so this is a lot going on.
It's got a good cheesy cast.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. You get a lot of scenes with Willem Dafoe and Dolph Lundgren in the same area, but they don't get to say anything together, and I think that's a shame.
Missed opportunity.
So there's a lot of shit going on. A few of my other problems. So they have a lot of underwater scenes, and underwater hair looks weird enough, but Jason Momoa with underwater hair and an underwater beard is really distracting. So I don't know what he said for half of that movie because I was watching his beard just fucking do whatever it wants. And his hair, it didn't work for me. Because like everyone else, like Patrick Wilson and Willem Dafoe have the slick back, tied up knot hair, and that is non-distracting.
Yeah.
And then they did like underwater voices too a little bit, like they added just a smidge of an effect as if their voice is underwater. So it's that was well done, but everything else. Patrick Wilson, again, I'm going to say this, he was fucking amazing. Like, he looked exactly like the character. His motivations made sense. He's like, fuck the surface, they keep polluting us, we have to destroy them.
Yeah.
And, like, one of the best parts is actually, like, they're like, okay, we need to do something. We're going to send them a warning. They throw all of the trash back onto the surface with a tidal wave. And Jason Momoa's like, he's attacked. And they're like, no, you don't know. That was a warning. That was not an attack. That was a straight warning. And Jason Momoa's like, well, really fucked us up. And then okay, let's see here. Forced romance, character development. Like, Aquaman's character development made no sense. He just, like, he didn't want to be king, and the only reason he had to become king was to stop everyone from, or stop his brother from destroying the entire surface world. And he still didn't want to be king in the end. Like, he didn't felt that he deserved to be king, and there was never a point where he decided he deserved to be king. So there's no character development. He just became king. Like, that's it. And not by choice, but it was by what he had to do. So he never changed at all. Okay, I'll give him one thing. There's a point where he, like, kills a character, and it comes back and bites him on the ass, and he realizes he should never have killed that person, that you should always show mercy.
Well, I guess I shouldn't kill people.
But that was not the main character point. Yeah, well, he's like, I guess I shouldn't have done that.
Chuck Star.
Well, and then here's the thing, okay? So when he finally becomes king, it's the most fucking epic ending, like, ending battle ever. Like, when he becomes king, so the premise is he gets the trident immediately because he has the trident. That's the mythos there. Immediately when he gets the trident, he is worthy to be king. Everyone will accept it. Boom. This shows that when he gets the trident, he shows exactly in that end battle why the fuck he deserves to be king. And you should never fuck with him. He comes out with that trident riding a giant-ass sea monster. He's like, whoa! And just wrecks everyone. And you're like, respect. Like, don't fuck with him. And it's just the most epic ending. Like, you know why he is king is because there is no one to oppose him. The thing that I'm not really for is the fact that, like, when that happened, he murdered, like, half of his own people. Like the way that he goes
Guess he
about
didn't
it.
learn his lesson after all.
So,
Dude.
yeah. Like, it's like...
That's the whole thing about conquering kingdoms.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. That's really...
He fucks
Can't make a novel
shit
without
up,
breaking
but
some
like...
eggs, I guess.
He kills like half of his own people in that shot, so it's like...
You
he
can't
didn't
really successfully conquer a kingdom without
murder.
murdering
Without
half
murder,
your
I mean,
people.
Yeah.
Like,
He
Yeah.
did it,
Right.
yeah.
Gotta murder a
that's
little bit
like,
every once in a while.
look at history. That's kind of how that works.
I mean, great respect. He looks good in the Aquaman costume. I still think that, like, his tattoos with the pants I think is a better costume for him.
Probably.
But,
From what I've
like,
seen
the
of the
Aquaman
Aquaman.
costume looks cool. I kind of wanted to see Dolph Lundgren in that Aquaman costume. I thought he would have looked a little better.
How's the humor in the movies? Is it a funny movie or is it more
Action.
I think if you were to pull the humor, it would be from everything you saw in the trailers. Essentially,
really?
Like there's like a part where she like pulls water from his head and drops it on this thing in the desert, and he's just like, "Cool, could have peed on it," like, you know. Or there's little jokes here and there, but like and that's the thing. It doesn't land. It's not as like if Marvel were to do this. Well, no, you know what? I compare it to just sort of your average Marvel movie like Ant-Man or something like that, where it's like it's okay. There are moments that stick out better than others. There are things that are done really, really well, but I still think they have a long way to go. The other thing the one little gripe, and I mentioned this in my little mini review I did, where I said that I think they need a rock anthem for him. Like, I think he needs, because like Iron Man has AC/DC and, you know, of course Black Sabbath. Thor has the Immigrant Song. I think because of this character, they need a rock anthem. There's a little too much pop in there. Like, it even ends on a pop song.
Really?
And I was like, this is really out of place for Jason Momoa's Aquaman.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah,
It's
I was not
poppy.
digging it. Yeah. It shouldn't
Him
be
as a
poppy
person
at
is
all.
not poppy, especially like the way they advertise him as a person is not poppy.
Definitely not.
It needs some metal
Definitely
or rock.
needs a rock.
I think that actually if they branched a little further into the metal territory, this would have landed. So I think soundtrack wise, there was a lot of problems. Is there a...
That's my breathing.
Okay. I was like, I couldn't tell if a phone... Sometimes it sounds like my phone. Funny story. So, for my family's Christmas party, my sister took me to her, like, office to show me that she has an office now. She's super proud, but it's at a hospital because she does, like, billing and stuff. So, this hospital's closed and dark, and we're sitting here, and we just hear this lullaby. We're like, what the fuck is that sound? And we're walking around, we're like Scooby-Dooing through the dark hallways trying to find the lullaby, and I pull my phone out for light and it gets louder, and I'm like, and then I look down and it was my phone. Because I was messing with my brother-in-law, and he's got a Google Dot, and I was like, hey Google, play me a lullaby. And it was doing that, but my phone was doing it at the same time, so when I shut that off, and everything was loud enough, I never heard my phone do it until we were in a dark abandoned hospital. So don't do that. But yeah, both these movies, I give them... I mean, I give them thumbs up for their own reasons. I think Bumblebee is a nice, cohesive story. It wasn't to the grandeur of the other Transformers movies, but I think that's okay. I think having a solid, well-told story with better graphics and way better characters
It makes for a better movie.
idea. Yeah, it makes for a better movie. I would like to see this become a grander film series, but just with the consideration that they've put into it already. That's just Aquaman. I just want them to put a little more consideration into character development. They've already forced a romance, so I guess it won't matter after that, but just a little more work into that, and then just like actual storytelling, like cohesiveness. I promised a review of those two movies. I got lucky. I actually skipped streaming on Monday so I could go and see Aquaman because it showed it. Like, they had a 12:30 showing, which they never do.
Yeah.
On Monday, and I was like, yes. So those are the things. Nick, let's talk a little bit about timing, just because I know Chris is he told me he was missing out on his crack and stuff, but did you just want to cut straight out in an hour, or because I know you're going to be riding with Nick now, so that means we'll have
Mostly
to
I just have a lot to do at home, and I just didn't want to go for like 2-3 hours.
I guaranteed I want to only go for like an hour and a half. Is that
That's fine.
okay? I can't do 3 hours today. It would
I just
kill
have
me.
a ton to do at home, and I've got another class tonight, so.
I get you. So okay, so Nick, what was? Let's talk about this because you were talking about. He's a film director, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this was my topic back in October.
Seriously, holy shit!
I'll see what I can remember from him.
Okay.
It's because one of his movies was released back in October. Like he died in like 1958 or something like that.
Oh.
So we only have in the States we only have 10 movies of him, like counting that, and I think maybe 30 are known to still exist, and he's done like 75. So
Holy
What's the
hell!
name again?
Kenji Mizoguchi.
So what is he known for? Like at least in the U.S. outside of this October film.
I think Ugetsu's probably his most popular movie.
What is it?
It's a ghost story, but what he's primarily known for is women aren't like they're not Japan's not super progressive in terms of women. They're always like objectified in kind of a weird way, and anime and film and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
With like the exception of Hayao Miyazaki and the people at Ghibli or however you pronounce it.
Ghibli.
Ghibli. People at Ghibli, they're pretty good about that, but all of his movies are like how shitty women have it and have had it in Japan, basically. Like most of his movies are about that.
Wow.
There's kind of a proto second wave feminism type stuff.
Okay.
So that's why I think he's worth talking about.
What's the movie that came out in October? Like, what's the story with that too? If he died in like 1958.
Oh, he just a lot of people were going early around then. It's like cancer. I don't know, maybe smoked too much or something.
Yeah, but
he was like 58 years old. I want to say.
How did he? Oh, he died at age 58.
And around 19. It was like 1956 to 58 ish.
But like, what's the story of how they came out with a film last October for like
they've just
a guy who died like almost 60 years ago? What's the story there? Like, how did that?
It's just one of the ones that is known to exist because there's about 30 of them and we have about 10. It's like not a whole. It was the Criterion collection.
Oh, okay.
There's not a big demand for them or anything. It's just like Criterion are like, oh hey, this one's good too. Let's release this one.
So the film was probably already complete. They just decided to release it.
Yeah.
I thought like I know they're working on not a Clash of the Titans, but from the guy who made Clash of the Titans or like did the VFX of that. They're working on a final script from. Well, I think a final script from the guy who actually wrote Clash of the Titans.
That'd be cool.
They're working on like finalizing one of his scripts that he died like years ago, but they're also doing like they're using the VFX style that they from the original type of stuff that they did back then. So I didn't know if it was something similar to that idea,
No.
like they were finishing a script and they like decided to make the movie or something like that. That's still cool though.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff wouldn't need that.
So you can probably find him on the Criterion Collection.
Yeah,
like on
number
Hulu?
of his. Do they still have that? Oh,
I don't know.
Last I checked, they didn't have that anymore.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is a shame because that was amazing.
Hulu.
Here, we can check. I have Hulu right here.
So how much of his stuff have you watched?
All of it except for one, I think. So 9 of the movies that we have available.
All of the U.S. ones.
Would
Which
it be
one's your
listed
favorite?
under Criterion Collection?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Which one's your favorite?
Ooh, Life of Oharu, I think.
What's it about?
A woman getting shit on over and over and over again, basically. Not
Figuratively.
Figuratively.
Because those exist too.
Well,
Just a totally different genre.
I was assuming, I was thinking of something like similar to the vein of the Human Centipede.
No.
like
Different genre.
isn't there a whole story to that? But it's a whole movie. However, it is based on the premise of something that's absolutely disgusting.
No, there's like 3 or 4 of them, I think, at this point.
There's quite a few of those.
It's about an upper class woman who, see if I can remember all the horrible things that happened to her. This guy that she's into is constantly into like pursuing her, but it's from a lower class. So she's like, no, stay away from me. Like, you're not worthy of me. He's like, I hate you type stuff. But eventually she's like, I can't fight it anymore. Like, and like they're just seen together, like in her house, and then from that she's like so like upper class and he's so not. He's like the servant of the something. She gets banned from that city, and her family for not for not raising her right gets banned from that city.
Yeah.
And it just goes downhill from there. He gets killed for it.
Oh.
So,
oh, shit.
And like with his last, they're like, "Do you have any last words before we cut your head off?" And he's like, "Tell her to find someone, but only do it for love." And then he dies. And so,
is there like a happy ending?
No.
Is he known for happy endings? I suppose.
No.
Oh no.
Don't watch it if you gotta prepare yourself for his type of movie.
This is like Ballad of Buster Scruggs all over again.
Yeah, she gets sold multiple times, and she has a kid with like this upper class guy. And towards like I'll spoil it for you. I don't think you're gonna watch it. I don't think anybody.
I mean, if I do, the spoil like I'm not gonna be upset about a spoiler. Yeah.
So like she's become like this 50-year-old prostitute at the end of the movie. Things have gone so far downhill for her, and she they're like the one little ray of hope that she has is her son. Because she had a son with this guy, and he like wants to have like a short meeting with her or whatever, and he wants to get her out of her situation. So she's like constantly thinking like, my son can't be a bad person. So she's like running, and she's like running from his guards or something like that to try to meet him. He's like walking by, and he knows she's there. He doesn't even glance at her.
Oh. Oh no. Yeah. So well, what's? I mean, if he's doing these films like as a champion of women.
Yeah,
so
he got
speak.
accused of exploitation, but it's not exploitation. Like he's like all your films are about like women and how horrible they have it. They're just like exploiting women or something. But no, it's.
But like, so say his general, like if you were to say his general theme were to be like, championing women in this sense, like what's the lesson to be learned from the film? You know what I mean? Is it just women have a shit life in Japan, or?
Yeah, it's not just women too. It's more like how that type of hierarchy is shit, and that's the way it was in Japan. And
okay,
it's more like it's a rude awakening for others.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's meant to open your eyes, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. That makes sense. I was just trying to like kind of piece it together. Like I want to like, if I were to explain like him, or if I were to try and learn from him and hope that other people to learn from him, I kind of like get an idea as to what he's about and like how he goes about it.
And he was. He would say that he's just like, well, people told me to write about women, so that's just what I've been doing. But if you look at his past, like, I mean, from what little I told you is, like, the woman was sold, like, his sister was sold to a geisha, and after, like, and his dad was terrible, so he had a terrible family. After he broke away from that, like, his sister helped raise him and stuff like that. So you can kind of see where he's coming from.
Okay. That makes sense.
If I want to talk a little bit about like his craft, because I saw a movie on him like a couple months ago. Like he is extremely intricate in his detail, like down to the like he tries to get like everything from back then, like from like hundreds of years ago, if he can, and if he can't, like as close as he can. And he is one of the ones he's known for pioneering the long shot. So like. All of his takes are like 8 minutes long often. Ooh. So like, you know how like if you're filming you're gonna do like a lot of scenes, but if you're filming one of his, you're gonna be like doing one a day or something.
Okay.
And so like you gotta do like, and he was a beast to work with from what people have said.
Like not good to work with? Or?
Yeah, like a monster to work with.
Ooh. Okay.
Because you got to like say these lines, you got to memorize these lines, and you have to do it perfectly. And if you do it too perfectly, he'll be like, scrap it. It looks robotic. I mean, it doesn't look natural. And he'll like change. And these are like 8 minutes worth of stuff you got to memorize and do like naturally. And if it doesn't look natural, he'll just change it. Like, all right, you're not saying this naturally, so we're going to change it this way to where you'll say it naturally. And so they got to memorize all new lines.
Sorry, that's my heating system.
That's your heating system?
Yeah,
I thought your wife was using a blender or something.
Yeah, no, it's... We're having someone come this week and look at it, but it's stupid. It'll stop. It does that in the middle of the night sometimes.
Well, it definitely sounds like at least fascinating films.
Yeah. One of his most frequent collaborators, like, it's like, what's with this guy? I mean, he never leaves for break. I've never even seen him go to the bathroom, like, all day. He's just there in his chair working. And then it cuts to this object that was his favorite thing to pee in on set, so he would never have to leave set.
Oh, God.
He's just that committed to making movies. He just pee right then and there.
There are like adult diapers and like catheters and whatnot. Like I feel like
I wouldn't use a catheter.
I mean, I'm just saying I'm not choosing this, but if it were to like, there's a lot more convenience than to openly just piss in a jar in front of everybody. Like, hey, I gotta go. We're gonna take a half a second break, and we're back. Just one of those things. I don't know. That's cool. What was the movie that you were watching about him?
Oh, this, I can't remember what it's called, but I mean, if you punch in his name, it's just a documentary on him.
Okay. Is that like on YouTube or?
I don't know. It was on the special edition of Ugetsu by the Criterion Collection. It's
okay.
One of those super high-end Criterion perks, you know?
Right, okay. That makes sense. I'm really bummed about this Hulu not having, because I thought that was a cool thing.
It was very cool, and I was, like, when I first noticed it wasn't there, it's like, oh, why do I even have Hulu at this point?
I don't even know why I have Hulu anymore. Well, I'm thinking about doing the cable thing, but that's a different story, okay?
If I ever feel like hammering out some, like a binge of old Nintendo cartoons, Hulu's got those, like Doug and...
Yeah, they do. They do have the 90s cartoons.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about, like, the Super... Because you said Nintendo. I thought you were talking
Nintendo.
about, like, the Mario...
No.
Like the old school Mario cartoon or Zelda.
Yeah.
No. Oh,
that would be nice, too, though.
Excuse me, princess.
Something has this
that,
Netflix.
However, is on Amazon Prime, I think.
Oh, is it Prime?
Oh, I bet
think
it is.
on Prime. Because
I know Mario is somewhere,
Mario is
but
as
I don't
well.
think Zelda is. I want to see Zelda.
Because I'll double check, because all I know is I searched it on my TV recently and it popped up and I was like, yes. And I had Devin watch an episode and he's like, what the is this? And I was like, excuse me, Prince. I was like,
it's one of the reasons why like Nintendo doesn't hand their properties out anymore.
So two of my nerd things clashed recently. As I bought a Nintendo comic book collection. It's like some guy was just randomly selling it. And it's based on, like, the cartoon. So it's based on, like, the Captain N cartoon and the excuse me version of Link.
they made a comic book.
Yep. I've been reading that lately.
Oh, my God. That's
nice.
amazing. We've been binging lately Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have either of you guys seen that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Well, I'm episode 2 into season 2 right now.
Okay. We're almost done with season 2.
Okay.
We've been having a blast with it. It's hilarious.
Well, you know what's weird? So, this is an interesting topic. A friend of mine, she put up an article the other day explaining her feelings. She's like, this perfectly encapsulates my feelings on the Marvelous Miss Maisel. And like
Attitude you just threw into that?
She fucking hates the show. And I'm like how? Because it's so much fun. And it's this idea, and I will explain the reason why she doesn't like it, and I will explain the reason why I vehemently disagree. They believe that Midge is too much of a perfect person. She's too perfect. She has everything handed to her. She doesn't even work for comedy. She's actually based off of, I believe it's Joan Rivers. But the difference was Joan Rivers was not married. She was single. she had to, and she was not immediately successful, and people did not immediately cling to her. She had to drudge her way through. As people said, you're too dark of a comic. You're talking about, you're too brash. And so Joan Rivers had to like actually work to be a comedian as opposed to Maisel, who just, it comes to her. So here's what I'm going to say about what I like about Maisel is the sense that I think she is perfect on purpose because everything around her is perfect, and then the premises of the show is that that's all a facade and it cracks away. And so it shows you have this character who is resilient in her perfection despite having everything kind of shit on her. Her husband cheats on her and leaves her. Her parents are like, you need to get back together with him and this needs to happen. The comedy world is, of course, like, you're a woman. You need to be fake. You need to be this. You need to be that. And she is, despite all this shit, she is resilient and perfect, And so that's what I love about the show. I think that, and she is, in some ways, she's not perfect. She's indecisive about the getting back together with her husband. It's not a simple, I should or shouldn't. He cheated on me. No.
Do you know the premise of the show? So, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, is set in the 1950s, and it follows a woman whose husband cheats on her and leaves her, and she gets into comedy, stand-up comedy. Oh. She's very Jewish, very, very Jewish. It's a huge part of the show. So it follows a very Jewish family dealing, when she's trying to keep her stand-up comedy a secret from her family. Oh, okay. Because it's a very, very prestigious family. Oh. So she's trying to deal with...
Her dad's like a theater professor. Or no, not theater. I'm sorry, he's a math professor. Why do I say theater? But her dad's a professor.
At a very prestigious college. Yeah. So she's in a very rich neighborhood. So she's now doing stand-up comedy in a really dingy bar. And she shows up in these super fancy outfits to do stand-up comedy in this sleazy bar late at night. Her family has no idea. And of course she's a woman comic, so nobody takes her seriously. Mm-hmm. She's absolutely hilarious. But
she's fierce. Her dad's played by the amazing Tony Shalhoub.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
the whole cast is ridiculously awesome.
They're all
every single person in the cast.
Is it streaming on anything?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
It's a Prime original.
Oh, okay.
I think I was told though that it's on Netflix. If for people who don't have,
it might be out of country.
Yeah.
I would say probably out of country. I think Netflix has everything except in the U.S.
Well, because I heard about it while we were in Kansas City visiting my dad for Christmas. My parents were watching it, and we saw a couple episodes of my dad, and my boyfriend and I were like, "This is hilarious. What is this?" And I don't think my dad has Prime. I think he was watching it on Netflix, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Let's look this up. I
thought this was a Prime original, but I don't know. I could be
so
wrong.
Good.
Maybe
It's worth. It's worth being on everything because it is good.
It's a winner of a ton of different awards. It deals with a lot of personal issues and things like that. But
I've been cranking them out lately. Then
it's on the second season.
I absolutely love the guy that plays her husband. Mm-hmm. I think he does a fantastic job. He's got a lot of charisma for being. You're only a douchebag.
You're only in the second season?
Yeah.
Or the second episode? So they go to this resort that the family always goes to every summer. It's like the family tradition. And it's supposed to be the whole summer because the family, the dad, he doesn't teach during the summer. So the whole family always goes every summer. They stay the whole summer. And they show up, and of course everybody brings up the fact that, oh, we heard about the separation, and, we decided that we like him better, so we're not going to talk to you all summer. Or, oh, you're no longer allowed to participate in the wife's swimsuit competition because, well, you're not married anymore. And she's like, that's not fair. I'm not divorced yet. And I'm like, it just keeps coming. Mm. Well, her husband shows up because the kids are there, so they've decided that they're both going to go and do the resort all summer because the kids are there. So they're going to do it together. They're trying to stay friends. And, he shows up, and he, walks up on stage takes the microphone for the opening ceremonies for the resort and like bitches out the entire summer resort and was like, I've heard some of you don't want to be friends with both of us, or I've heard some of you don't want to let her participate in the swimsuit competition, and shame on you. And he like just bitches everybody out.
Nice.
And as somebody who's been through a divorce and has heard every single one of those comments before, I was like, yes.
He's so good. Like, and he plays a character, because I wanted to hate him. I mean, I wanted to hate him, but I loved him, especially by the end. You know, the last episode of the first season, he just kind of wins you back 100%. I think.
And divorce is messy, and divorce is awful, and it's such a bitchy thing to deal with. But your life is so intertwined when you get married that when you get divorced, like you don't like stop all of a sudden the person is no longer part of your life.
There's no clean breaks.
Yeah.
There's no clean breaks.
I would imagine.
And they handle that really well with the show, especially since they have children. Hell, my ex and I didn't even have children, and we couldn't have a clean break. So I've related so hard watching this and being like, yes.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's not just kids. It's like your family, your friends, the people that you associate with. There's 100 people that are incorporated into you in their relationship, whether you like it or not, you know. And then people start thinking that they have to pick sides, which is fucking stupid. You know, it's just one of those things, you know.
Everybody talking about whether you're going to get back together, when you're going to get back together,
Jesus.
how that's going to happen. Like,
it's...
No.
And on top of that, you know, and who's the lady who plays her friend? I can't remember her name.
I don't remember.
She plays Lois Griffin on Family Guy, and she is
freaking hilarious.
Phenomenal, hilarious. I love all the boy jokes. They always have. Is this your boyfriend? No, this is my manager, and it's a woman.
She's like always in like suspenders and like she walk. So
like, hey, are you a girl?
They get to the
mafia thing.
They get to the summer resort, and she decides to go up to the summer resort to try to book her a gig up there. And so she shows up with a plunger, and she's like, "What are you doing up here? How are you up here?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm walking around with a plunger. Everybody assumes I work here." And so she like later she starts bitching, and she's like, "And somebody stole my plunger to use it. Who uses somebody else's plunger? Do you know how sacred this plunger is? Who would use somebody else's plunger?" And like it just. She then talks later about, she's like, "And I set my plunger down, and then I lost it, and I don't know where my plunger is, and I just got like so emotional looking at this plunger."
She's fantastic.
Oh my god, it's the best character in the whole show.
I finished binging Lemony Snicket.
I'm like halfway through season 2 on that.
Okay, season 3 is the last season. It's done.
Oh, they're done.
They're done. Mm-hmm. It was great. It's not as climactic. I feel like season 2 is the best season for me.
Really? I kind of just every episode is just like so much more of the same thing.
Oh,
I feel like it's.
I feel like there was a lot of good reveals. There was this talk of who is Beatrice. They finally explained in season 3 who Beatrice is, and how it relates to Lemony Snicket, and how it relates to the kids, and how it relates to these people, and who who's this and that in the VFD. The VFD being the secret organization that's wrapped around the entire unfortunate events of the Baudelaire children, who are the main characters. And I don't know. I didn't care. Like, I didn't care as much in season 3, but in season 2 I was like invested. Like, I was like, okay, what's going on here? Who's this? Also, they like, I feel like they oddly forced in, what's her name? She's the bad lady who's dating Olaf.
Oh. Yeah, the one who like.
But they oddly forced her into the VFD.
Yeah.
And maybe that was explained in season 2, but I didn't really pick it up. So I was like, when they were like, "Oh yeah, she was friends with everybody the whole time," I was like, "What?" so that was kind of weird, but I don't know. I mean, it was good. I thought it was great. I like the ending, made me tear up just a little bit, just a little tear. They incorporated so he's the guy who plays Schmidt in New Girl, and I absolutely love that actor, and he got to be in there quite a bit. I absolutely love that guy. So
the fact that New Girl is over broke my heart.
Yeah.
It was such a good show. I related to that so hard.
Well, I'm glad that Jake Johnson? Jake Johansson? The guy who plays, Nick. The guy who plays Nick. He's, the fact that he still has a career, he's into the Spiderverse. 100% happy because I don't have enough of that guy.
I haven't seen that either yet. I've heard so many good things, though.
Oh, it's so good.
I've heard so many good things.
That one, so both Aquaman and Bumblebee, I had to wait to watch. That one, the second that it came out to be able to see in the theater, I went and I watched it.
My life's been so busy, I haven't seen any movies in forever. Spiderverse, though,
Spiderverse was great.
Good.
Yeah,
storytelling-wise, visual-wise, humor. They made schlubby Spider-Man make sense because it's like I didn't dig it until I saw it, and then I was like, okay. Because interestingly enough, they actually have two people voice the character of Spider-Man. The first person being a bit of a mystery, but when it started, I was like, this sounds like this person. This doesn't sound like Jake Johnson who's playing Spider-Man. This is really confusing. And they make it make sense that this is this universe's Spider-Man. You get introduced to him. By the way, perfect person to voice Spider-Man. If they do future work, I want him as Spider-Man because dead on. Jake Johnson does not sound like Spider-Man on any level. He has the jokes like Spider-Man, but he does not sound like Spider-Man. So then you find out that he's in a Spider-Man universe where everything has fallen apart. Him and Mary Jane broke up because she wants kids and he doesn't know that he wants kids. So they break up. He is in a shitty place. He's living in a shitty apartment. He's just like, his life is not together. He's also getting fat, which is really funny. He's got like a paunch. He's in the Spider-Man suit with sweatpants and a paunch. He's just slubby. He's a schlubby Spider-Man. And then he was perfect. He was perfect. So they even take the one gripe that I had with the movie and perfected it. It just it's a perfect movie all around. Well,
yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Sounds like that would be the future of the comic book Spider-Man, because he's always getting bad luck and bad things happening to him constantly. He's always getting beaten over the head with something.
Yeah. So it was great. Well, it was interesting to see like the guy who plays Spider-Man at the beginning of the movie. So if you watch the movie, don't get too confused. You'll be like, oh, it makes sense.
Gotcha.
Okay.
They make it make sense, and I'm like, okay, this is perfect. But the visuals are so great. Like, there's even points where it almost looked like it was like supposed to be in 3D, but it wasn't, and it still works, and it's really good. And then the guys who the voice cast is great. The whole movie's great.
I'll just buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those ones I do regret not. They didn't have it in 3D, but I regret not seeing it in 3D either.
I see.
I think that movie would have been amazing in 3D. Because there are very few movies. Like, one of the ones I actually liked in 3D was Despicable Me 1. And there's a few other ones, but I think this one would have been a fantastic 3D movie. Because they had their over-polluted 3D, like the 3D like polluted everything. Like they have like every Marvel movie in 3D. It doesn't even look 3D half the time. Yeah. Like it just doesn't make any sense. So this is one of those movies I think it would have made sense. It would have been perfect. But for some reason they didn't have it, at least at the theater that I was watching it. So there's a weird thing. It just shows like they don't understand 3D still. Like marketing it, pushing it, making the right movies. Same thing with late shows. I don't know. I have I could go on for hours about movie theaters and how they're supposed to do shit. Okay, so I should probably do nerdy news because we have a little bit. We have a bit of nerdy news, and we haven't talked about nerdy news. So let's do some nerdy news real quick. Okay. There's going to be a Resident Evil demo, a Resident Evil 2 demo put on Xbox One, PS4, and PC this week. So if you guys want a chance of playing the newer, like the upgraded Resident Evil 2, I'm probably going to download and play it. So this week that's going to land. So keep an eye out for that. Someone also, speaking of demos, someone remade the PT demo. That is the one that Joe Kadima. He's the guy who did. He's behind Metal Gear Solid. He was working on that with I think Capcom and Norman Reedus. Now he's working on a whole other thing with Norman Reedus, but like he left the company that he was working for. But the PT demo was taken down almost immediately after that. He was going to do it was Silent Hill. It was the new Silent Hill game they were going to do, and they took it down. Someone remade the whole thing, shot for shot, with the Unreal Engine. So that is up, and you can find that on the internet somewhere. Marvel Fox merger. Kevin Feige had a discussion about that. So timeline-wise, they're not going to even be working on any projects because it will not be finalized until June.
Oh.
So after June, then they'll start working on projects. They'll have permission to do that, so that's when they will start actively doing things. So don't really expect anything until after that, because it won't happen.
That won't be for a while.
Let's see. A game... Oh, yeah, the game dev. This guy was, like, behind... I think he did, like, X-Men Legends or something like that. He did some other stuff, but he fucking hijacked people's Roombas and started making Doom levels based around the scope of their house, the layout of their house.
That would be creepy.
Well, I'm just like, what a clever way to get the mapping of someone's house is like hacking their Roomba.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't know either.
Now you know. Did you know that?
Did you
now
know?
you know.
Well, now I'm definitely not getting a Roomba.
Yeah, right? Well, it's this paranoia of like everything is watching you, and I
Everything
realized
is watching you.
it never really affected me until like one day I was talking with my wife about getting one of those smart thermostats, and I never Googled anything. I never looked anything up. I literally just had my phone was near me, and my wife and I were just chatting about it. And then I opened up my phone, and on Facebook, the first ad was one of those fucking smart thermostats.
Yeah, it does that.
I was like.
You know they do that, right? That's a thing.
Yep.
I'm kind of okay with them like looking through my search history because I think that's a good idea.
They
but
listen
straight
to
up
you, too.
listening to my conversations is not okay.
They listen to you, by the way.
Do you hear me, phone?
Your phone does it.
Stop
your Alexa
doing
does
that.
It, your Google does it.
Oh man, how do I bury this
Gross.
body? And then you get like
Your
a
computer
ads for
does
shovels.
it.
Yeah, ads for
Everything.
shovels. Oh, I can get one in Walmart.
Everything.
A former
Yes,
Blizzard
everything.
the former Blizzard devs, I don't know who they are, but they're former devs from Blizzard, are going to actually be working on a Marvel game coming up here soon. So expect that. I don't know. I don't really, yeah. Let's see. CW has ordered a pilot for a Batwoman series based off of the Ruby Rose Batwoman in the Elseworlds crossover. Kind of makes sense. She was incorporated into the Arrowverse. Elseworlds was cool. It was not as good as I would say the Nazi Planet one, but
I mean, how was Batwoman?
She was all right. She's basically Batman but a woman. Like there is actually a few parts where she was hitting on Supergirl a little bit, and then Supergirl kind of hit on her back as a joke, which was cool. Like I thought that laid out really, really well.
Nice.
And then they have a cool like world's finest moment where she says world's finest at a certain point and they're together. So that was kind of cool.
That's cool.
She did a good job. Her base is like an old rundown Wayne building that's like covered in vines. I think like maybe poison ivy had attacked it or something. But that was awesome. Nice. And apparently she was good enough to inspire a pilot. Yeah. Awkafina, if you don't know that actress, she was actually just in Future Man season 1, and then she was in Crazy Rich Asians. Apparently her and Ken Jeong did like a thing together. Okay. So they were hilarious, I guess. She's really funny. I like her a lot. She's going to be cast in Jumangi 2. That is the one strength of that movie is the cast.
They're doing a Jumangi 2. I actually liked Jumangi.
The new one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the cast was really good.
I was expecting to hate it and ended up loving it.
Really?
So it makes sense.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
It was not the original. Like it wasn't a remake. It wasn't the only thing that was the same was the concept of kids getting sucked into a game.
They do call back to the original, so the idea is like the board turns into a video game console.
So instead of the game then coming to life in the real world, they got sucked into the game, and they made a reference. They got sucked into this jungle, and they did make a reference where they found a shelter, like a living shelter, and there was a name carved into the shelter, and it was the main character, or it was the character, Robin Williams' character.
Yeah.
From the first game, which was kind of cool. It was like a
because he got sucked into the game. He got sucked into it straight up. So
I guess you got to do something like that.
There's a great joke about how NPCs work.
Yeah, the NPCs were freaking
Welcome
fantastic.
to Jumangi!
And it runs through the NPC lines, and you can choose how to talk to them, and they just run through their NPC lines again. It was.
They would ask overly specific questions, and he would just switch back to "Welcome to Jumangi."
I enjoyed the game, or I enjoyed the movie way more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
I highly
it's because it's got a fantastic cast. The plot is decent enough, and the cast is fantastic. Oh my god, the scene where The Rock and Amelia Pond, that's all I know her name as right now, I apologize. The scene where they make out is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Jack Black playing a high school preppy, trying, and at one point Jack Black is trying to teach one of the other girls how to flirt with the guards to try to distract them. And so she's trying to teach her how to flaunt her hair and how to hip sway and all that. It's the funniest freaking thing.
It's brilliant.
Oh my god.
And again, it's the cast.
They do
the cast
an
is just
incredible job.
Incredible. Even the girl who plays Amelia Pond, whose name I can't remember right now. I apologize. Yeah.
I would be down to own that movie.
So good.
I wonder if it's streaming anywhere.
You have Kevin Hart being Kevin Hart.
Wow.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, Kevin Hart's Kevin Hart.
I was gonna say Kevin Hart's the jock.
He plays the jock character, and then he's struck down to
shrunk down to Kevin Hart size.
Welcome to the top 2 feet of my body. That's that line. Okay. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Spiderverse, it won Best Animated Picture at the Golden Globes.
Good.
If I were to name anything that won anything at the Golden Globes, the only thing that I know of was Spider-Verse won Best Animated Picture.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel actually won Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, and Best show or something
Not
like that.
Surprised.
Yeah,
Not
that
surprised.
show won 3 different.
It did that last year too. It swept house last year. It did a really good job. Dave Bautista is going to be cast in Dune. They're doing a Dune remake.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So I'm so for that. I did not know that. I am okay with this.
I don't know what he's been doing lately.
Speaking of Drax the Destroyer, and I think this actually relates to Dave Bautista's actions lately. He's been saying, fuck Disney after firing James Gunn. He's so pissed off. So in the comic books, they did an Infinity War storyline, and they killed him off. They killed off Drax. There's something about they were in another universe, and the only way to hold the door open was 2 characters had to stay behind and hold it open, and Drax was one of them. So Drax is dead. Venom sequel confirmed for they've confirmed Venom sequel. They have the same writer, but they're getting a new director. The director will not be returning. I think that's okay. I don't know who's in charge of making trailers and stuff. I feel like the director should have a final say. But whoever did all of the promo work really ruined the movie. Mm-hmm. I think because most of the movie all the best parts of that movie was in a trailer.
Yeah.
It was a good movie, but
I liked it more than I thought I was going to.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah. It was enjoyable. It just wasn't.
It was definitely funnier.
It had better potential.
It had a lot more potential.
Yeah.
It should have had a lot more. It should have been an R-rated movie. Let's go with that way. It should have been a violent movie.
I have an entire rant that I've done before on the podcast about what I think could have been better.
Yeah. It should have been a much more violent R-rated movie, but instead they went on the comedy aspect. The comedy was absolutely fantastic. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of really great things to say about Venom, but at the same time, they just didn't do enough.
That's actually the end of the nerdy news, too. So, I wanted to do a shout out too. So I put on the Instagram how I was hunting for Stroop waffles. So if you've ever flown Delta, who's this? Vagina Grad 2! Subscribe to PewDiePie. No.
Yep.
I don't want to.
PewDiePie needs more subscriptions.
Right.
Subscribers.
So anyways,
still low key.
So what I
PewDiePie pay people to go to other
You know what?
Is that
There's
why
a huge controversy. Actually, I think this has happened before. I think there's a big controversy around it where people go in and spam subscribe to PewDiePie, and people are like, "Fuck PewDiePie now," and PewDiePie's like, "I didn't tell nobody to do this." Like, sorry.
I'm sure he didn't.
Anyways, so if you've ever flown, I think it was Delta that I flew. I got in the AM. They give you like these waffles, these delicious ass caramel Stroop waffles for breakfast.
Delicious ass waffles.
I saw your post.
They are ass waffles. Yes. So I've been hunting for these for 4 years.
Oh, really?
And I was talking to a friend the other day who, by the way, big shout out to the Halls. They flew to Florida and they picked me up this T-shirt. It says, "Beach better have my money," and it's a guy like going down the beach. One of the things that I absolutely love is the fact that when people see a funny T-shirt, they think of me. Like I'm like, that's great. We were watching their dog, so they got my wife and I a T-shirt. But I was talking to them, and they said, "Hey." I was talking about the Stroop waffles, and they go, "You know they sell that in the coffee section at Casey's gas station, right?" And I'm like,
What?
They're like, "Yeah." And so this morning, I drove out there, and I got myself a fucking Stroop waffle. I found it, and it's literally, it's like hidden underneath the coffee. I was like, "What?" They're like $2 for 2 waffles, like 2 little waffles. I was like, okay. So I bought those up, took a photo, put it out there. I put it out on Instagram, and I hashtagged the company that makes them. I hashtagged Stroop Waffle, I hashtagged Delta Airlines, I hashtagged all that shit. And the company that makes them actually like commented back on 2 photos too. I had the first one where I was like, I did like a podcasting checklist, and at the bottom I had like obtained Stroop Waffles, and I had it checked off. And that was the second post, but they commented on that first where they're like, "Hey, well, thanks, Chris. Thank you for liking my shirt." So they said, "Hey, you can find," like, they gave me a link to a website where you can actually find them in any of your states. Like, you go by state, and then it'll tell you exactly who the distributors are that carry them.
Sweet.
So I was like, cool. And then they commented on my post, my second post, which was me holding the Stroop waffle, and they're like, "We're so glad you found us." And I'm like, the fact that like a company, like a giant Dutch waffle distributing company, took time out of their day to like notice my Instagram post and say, "Thank you for calling us, thank you." That was cool. That was cool. I don't know, that was a little nice. So I want to do a little Stroop waffle shout out for, I don't even remember the company name, but you can find it on Instagram. They're there, Delmans or something like that. It is good. They're caramel. And my wife comments and goes, "Where's my waffle?" And I'm like, "Oh, there's one set aside for you." And she's like, "Good."
What's funny, so you posted about that, and I saw your post. Right before your post, a friend of mine is a flight attendant for Delta, and he had posted, "Got my coffee with the Stroop waffle on top."
Yeah, that's their thing, apparently. You're supposed to warm it up by setting it on top of your coffee.
That's the way. That's the reason it's shaped that way, is so you have your coffee cup and you set it on top.
Okay.
That's
their branding too. Like that's in the picture on the front is it sitting on top of a coffee cup.
Yeah. So it's a round thing. You have your coffee cup. You sit it on top. It melts. Blah blah blah. And then it's warm and you can eat it. And you have like a hot little coffee. So yeah, what's funny is I saw yours right after I saw my friends. I've got my coffee for the morning with the waffle on top, and then I saw immediately afterwards. It's like, "I found this," and I was like,
"I've been looking forever."
And I got really confused, and I was like, "Did Jared fly in this morning? You do have a podcast today, right?"
No, I drove to Casey's and I picked it up and I ate one because that was my goal today, was to get up. I've done several other shit like dishes. I still have to drag a tree into the backyard because we're gonna burn our Christmas tree recreationally. By the way, fire department. My wife posted how we were gonna burn it, and the fire department commented was like, "You're not supposed to burn things in the city limits," and we're like, "We can do it for fun." It's the law, as long as it's recreational. Yep. There is no fire that is not recreational for me, so the whole town is my Kindle.
Yes.
Wait, what about fire recreational? Sorry, I was answering a message.
The city, so we're gonna burn our Christmas tree for fun. But my wife talked about it on social media, and the fire department, like the fire chief specifically, was like, "You're not supposed to burn in the city limits." And we're like, "We can do it if it's fun. It's recreational fire." And then I was just commenting how every fire is recreational for me. So this entire city is my kindling.
Is that Travis's dad?
Tell him it's part of my fire performing.
Yeah, Travis's dad actually. I just
tell him it's part of.
Yeah.
Tell him make it a fire show. I can perform.
Yeah.
Make it a fire show. Yeah, you're gonna twirl the Christmas tree as a breeze.
Dude, it'll be my background. Like I can take that as the background, and I'll perform in the front.
One thing I really wanted. So here's what drives me nuts, right? So I'm looking at like what other like.
Sorry, I just had the image of me fire breathing off of a Christmas tree. That sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome.
Continue.
That is awesome. Well, so I'm thinking of pictures and shit. So here's what's driving me nuts, right? So I'm like looking at what other streamers do to like successfully like handle Instagram. And there are things like I'm doing something where I just like I kind of show a little bit of my podcasting life, and then I also show some of my streaming life, and then I show my normal life, and it's gaining success. Like from what I've heard, like social media wise, the place you want to be right now is Instagram. That is where you're gonna get the most attention. So that's where I'm putting some attention right now. And it took me days, by the way, to find a video scheduler. I found this one called Grambler. That will it sits on your desktop, and as long as it's open, it will post for you. So you just have to put the videos in. Everywhere else, either you have to pay money or they just don't have the ability to do that. So it's a pain in the ass. But all these people take pictures. Like they take these they have hundreds of professional pictures. And I'm like, I don't have the time nor money or ideas to do this for streaming. I don't know. I'd love to do a photo shoot with all of us podcasting, just doing some shit. I don't know. But I don't have the time for that, or the resources. I have a camera, but I do not have the skill.
I was going to say, Devin has all of the equipment, skill, all of that for... Devin does professional photography and videography.
I'm assuming, though, he wouldn't want to, just do it for podcasting fun's sake. He'd do
it for cheap, though.
Yeah, well, okay, so Chris, get to donating. No, Chris, don't donate. I'm kidding.
I'll ask him about it. He's trying to get practice, because it's something he's...
Okay.
So I'll ask him about it, find out how much it'll be, and let you know.
It'd be fun, because that's the next step would be doing some photography work and having pictures out there. Then have one of me in the bushes, one of Chris in my bushes. There's not enough on my bushes right now, Chris. It is, even though it does not feel like winter at times, it is the trees and everything are acting like it's winter, which is weird. I don't understand that, how weather doesn't, I don't know. Anyways. We've had a crazy holiday season. I got to see some movies. We got to talk about some really cool shit, but I think we do have to wind down a little bit, because we all got things to do. I have to actually put this up, and my wife is coming home relatively soonish. So I figure we'll wind down, but just a quick reminder, guys, you can follow me on Instagram at JDeem. You can find me at JDeem on Twitter. You can also find us on Twitter at JA Nerdy Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Just Another Nerdy Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube. You can watch these videos later on. If you haven't watched these live, but you want to catch them live, you can catch us at twitch.tv/Just Another Nerdy Podcast. And finally, if you want to just download us and listen to us a little bit later, put a little nerdy in your pocket, so to speak.
A little nerdy in your pocket, yeah.
You can download us and you can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and CastBox. So that's the promo for the week, guys. Next week, I'm not going to be able to do that. So next Wednesday, so it'll be after the podcast, we're going to go watch the Brawley movie for DBZ. So you can expect that a couple later. Yeah, my buddies want to, they're like, do you want to go? And I was like, I guess. I was like, I don't understand a damn thing of what's going on right now. And they're like, there's a catch-up thing. And I'm like, okay. Because I ended DBZ at, the Boo Saga. And then I watched, a little bit of GT. And
Brawley was strictly the movies, almost. The DBZ movies.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even watch that much of the DBZ movies, because they don't canonically connect well. I mean, I was a huge fan of Tree of Life. I thought Tree of Life was a really cool movie. That one a lot. But outside of that, not really. So I don't know. But yeah, so you can kind of expect some more nerd talk next week. We might discuss a little bit of 2018 in review, and then we'll talk about 2019, what's coming up, what we're excited about. There's a lot to be excited about in 2019.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We'll hit that up. So we're going to see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Do you guys have any promo work you want to do? You want to listen to this guy? If you haven't looked up Nick, his music is going to be linked in the description down below. You should check out. It's Grand Old Lady, right?
Yeah, and Meet the Squiddables.
Did you want people to find you?
Sure. I perform and I teach floor arts and stuff like that. I do burlesque, Sasha Delight in Iowa, Milwaukee, and Missouri areas.
Instagram?
Instagram is Alleatory, ALLETORIE.
I'll put a link up to that. So okay, so
speaking of trolling, I'm gonna troll an open mic night tomorrow. Me and a bandmate.
Really?
Yeah, really? Where at?
Tomwa. I'm gonna sing "Oh Holy Night." I'm not gonna learn the words. I'm gonna do it.
Sounds awesome.
So if you're in the Ottumwa area, definitely go see that.
I don't sing well either, so.
That's great. That's beautiful. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye. Oh shit.